Okay, so not exactly the topic I thought I'd be kicking off a vlog series on, but this was just too big and I felt something really needed to be said. So is this another rant against YouTube video? No. If this was truly inevitable, I want to take a moment here and talk about how YouTube could have handled this better and how they may be able to handle things like this better in the future. Because as bad as this was for YouTubers, the way they handled it made it so much worse. So let's take a look at exactly where they went wrong. So I don't really have a cocktail for this, so I figured let's just have a drink and discuss. Okay, so I'm sure it comes to no shock as anyone right now because this has now gotten a lot of press both inside and outside of YouTube. YouTube has once again changed their monetization rules, and it's all around how you are counted as a partner. This has been a sliding bar for YouTube ever since the adpocalypse started. Oh, cheers, by the way. So let's take a look at it. On the heels of the Logan Paul incident, which another thing I'm sure comes as no surprise to anyone, whether you're a YouTuber or not, that also got a lot of press. The next big thing that YouTube rolls out practically on the heels of that is now they moved the bar again on what you as a creator have to do in order to take part in the ad sharing. It started out that anyone could be a partner. Now I know before my days, it was a lot stricter and then they made it wide open. Then the adpocalypse started and then they moved the bar to 10,000 watch minutes. Okay, good. You want to make sure that people aren't just putting up troll videos that no one is watching. That makes sense. And then they move it again, but it's not a gradual move like the first one. This one went way off the charts. Now you have to have 1,000 subs, which is not a small feat for most creators who are just starting out, and 4,000 watched hours, not minutes, hours. This may not seem like a lot until you multiply it by minutes, and you're looking at 240,000 watch minutes. And if you are not a streamer, that in itself is very difficult to do. What really got to me was how they chose to launch this, which I'm sure everyone can agree was a colossal up. Practically overnight, a bunch of us smaller YouTubers started getting emails from YouTube with very aggressive verbiage, basically saying that we now have 30 days to be able to come up with 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch, I'm not even gonna call it watch hours, 240,000 watch minutes in 30 days, or our monetization is being shut off. Needless to say, this caused a panic and a riot. Personally, I started to think that maybe the tides were turning. Around the time of the Logan Paul incident, YouTube put out a tweet that said, "You are right. We are terrible at communication. You're being heard, and we are going to do better." Right after that, this goes out. And once again, just a horrible handling of the situation. First off, the no communication prior to this going live. Now, if you saw in YouTube's posting here on Twitter, they said they made mention that this was coming in the CEO's blog in December. The nice thing about that, at least, is that we were able to find out that this wasn't a direct result of the whole Logan Paul issue. This was something that was going to happen for a while. That at least was kind of nice to know, because without that communication, what's the first place that people are going to jump to, given that this just came off the heels of the Logan Paul issue? This is part of that fallout. It was just unbelievably bad timing on YouTube's part. If YouTube was a startup, I would give them a lot more leniency. YouTube is a big company. Not only is it a big company, it's part of a huge company that is Google. They are way too big to be doing these kind of basic errors in implementation. The second big problem with this, the communication in the email. Not knowing that this is coming, receiving an email similar to this would have any content creator thinking, What did I do wrong? Why am I the villain here? Why is YouTube coming at me so hard? And until you get on social media, you would not have known that tons of others were getting this message too. There's two faults in this. One, YouTube made the very naive assumption that everyone knew that this was coming. And two, they didn't look at the text of that email as if they were one of the regular creators who have not been abusing the adpocalypse. Coming from that standpoint, anyone would have made the assumption that they're being seen as the enemy, that they've done something wrong. Third issue, once this became public, now suddenly you have a bunch of other people, not only in the YouTube community, but outside the YouTube community, turning on the smaller creators. When they started voicing their very real concern of what's happening to my ad revenue, why am I only be given 30 days to be able to make the impossible happen, suddenly you've got a bunch of other people turning and saying, why are you crying over $1? Your content needs to be better. Just do more. Just up your game. You now not only have YouTube going after smaller creators, you have other creators going after smaller creators. So let's take a moment and let's focus on that piece, because this is one that's been kind of given the most press. Why is everyone sweating over less than $1? You've got a bunch of people saying, you shouldn't get into YouTube for the money. Don't do what you do in hopes of making the YouTube millions that everyone hopes that they're going to get. Not only from people outside the community, but people who actually do make the money. Let me break it down to you. It's not the dollar. YouTube is a great enterprise frontier, that place where if you do good, you can be rewarded, and you can be rewarded in ways no one ever thought was possible. Not only being able to replace your job, but being able to have a life you never thought that you could. YouTube was showing you that you were a partner. Not to the hundreds or the thousands or anything like that. Even if it was only $5, $10. It wasn't the value of the dollar, it was being valued as a partner. Having that taken away hurts a lot. Now, I'm very lucky. I just crossed the 1,000 mark not too long ago, and thankfully I started streaming that I had the minutes. That could have been me. I was that close to that being me, but it still felt like it was me, because I remember the struggle of trying to start from nothing, developing the community, trying to up my game as a creator. And even if it was only $5, $10, I took so much pride in that $5, in that $10 that, by the way, I won't see until I hit that $100 mark for the payout. That's the second part in which this stings. All these people who were given the chance to be able to earn money never saw it. They're sitting there like I did, looking at the screen going, oh my God, the day this will cross 100, I will be able to get a check from YouTube. I will be able to say, look, I have done something. And that's gone. Not the money, the effort, and the value. I still have a lot of friends who are still yet to cross that 1,000 mark, who are now unbelievably panicked going, I've spent so long feeling like I was a partner to YouTube, even in the smallest way, and that's going to be taken away from me in 30 days. Whether they meant to or not, YouTube has now painted the picture that if you as a creator don't have 1,000 subs or 240,000 watch minutes, your content isn't good enough. And that has been echoed by a lot of people, both inside and outside of the YouTube community. We all know that this isn't true. A lot of people put out some really good content, but it takes a while to get that first 1,000. The number of subs has no direct relation to the quality of the content. You'll see some brilliant content from some smaller YouTubers, and you'll see other channels with 100,000 plus subs that all they do is restream old episodes of Family Guy. So let's hold aside for a second what YouTube has implemented, and let's look at how they've implemented it. If this was inevitable, if YouTube's solution to the adpocalypse was that they needed this barrier, fine. How could they have handled this better? The communication problem. It's unbelievable that a company that is a subsidiary of Google doesn't understand the value of communication, of talking to their constituents. This has been called out time and again, saying YouTube doesn't tell me what's coming. I'm creating content, I'm doing the work, and then I get the tablecloth ripped out from under me. When YouTube knew that this was coming and I didn't. I hope, if nothing else, YouTube now understands that you can't promise better communication, you have to give it. Especially in a case like this. YouTube should have been shouting it from the rooftops months ago that this was coming. This would have cut off any people thinking that this was a result of Logan Paul. This would have helped prepare those people who are not near the 1,000 mark to try to come up with something to be able to help them reach that marker in time. Now they don't have that runway. They are given 30 days. If Microsoft doesn't care to annoy their people with updates, YouTube can do the same. It is better to over-communicate than under-communicate. Twitter and Facebook are not primary means of communication. They are alternate avenues to be able to echo the same communication that you would have on your platform. Secondly, anticipate the questions that are going to arise. A lot of the panic that came about once this became known that this was happening was, what happens to the revenue I've created? Is this something that's going to be checked yearly? When is it going to be checked? These are questions YouTube should have anticipated before they launched this. Even if they couldn't think of all the questions, they should at least had some that were available in an FAQ when this went live. To basically say, look, here's what's going live, here's how it impacts you. And then as more questions come in, just keep building on that FAQ so there's one place that people can go to say, how does this impact me? It takes away some of the panic. Third, think about what you're not saying. And this I'm pointing specifically to the verbiage in the email. YouTube may not be able to see this because they are on the system side of this. They see parts that we don't, and we as creators see parts that they don't. If they were to look at it from the standpoint of a creator, the verbiage that you use, would have thought you've done something wrong? And how do you look at it from the point of the creator when that's not your role 24/7? Pull together a council of creators. Let this be the people that you reach out to on a monthly basis to say, here's what's coming. Let me get your feedback. That's how you test this out. Even if they're not small content creators, they could be able to tell you how one might think. Or hell, even better yet, get some smaller creators on that council. YouTube has got to be in touch with their creators, both big and small. They may be lucky now that they don't have a sizable competitor that can do pre-recorded and streaming together, but that may not always be the case. And part of looking at what's not being said is the way that smaller YouTubers were not only feeling vilified by YouTube, but are now feeling vilified by other creators. Some messaging really need to be put in there that not everyone who has under 1,000 subs is the problem. I have to believe at some point that YouTube understands this. My hope is that the problem is their communication. That they just assume that we know what they're thinking. And what they're thinking is, there are some people that are under 1,000 that are abusing the system. And there's a lot of people under 1,000 who aren't abusing the system. But this is our one catch-all. Great. Let them know that not everyone is getting lumped into as the problem. Finally, I really hope this is a stopgap. I really hope that YouTube is trying to make some kind of drastic fix to be able to stop a major leak. But this can't be the solution going forward. The reason why I say this is look at Twitch. Now this isn't a pro-Twitch, bad YouTube kind of a chat. I'm simply marking it as a point of comparison. Twitch offers people affiliate once they have 50 followers. And let me tell you, 50 followers on Twitch is a hell of a lot easier than 1,000 subs on YouTube. And what do you get when you hit that affiliate? Well, one, you have to swear a blood oath to Twitch, and that's where that turns some people off. I can understand why they do that. But secondly, it now opens up at least some kind of revenue. I don't know quite what the ad sharing is at that level, but I do know that it allows people to be able to sub to their favorite creators and allows them to be able to donate, of which Twitch takes a portion. This is something that currently is only available on YouTube once you hit that 1,000 mark. Imagine if YouTube made that available at the 50 sub or the 100 sub, or okay, let's take it to 200 or 500 sub. At least it feels like it's a measurable mark in between having nothing and having 1,000. Even if they couldn't put ads on their content, it at least allows people who watch their content a chance to be able to support them financially. And again, it's not much, but it's a thought that counts. So I may have gone off a little bit on a rant, but I hope if by chance YouTube is watching, that they really start to understand the need, the immediate need and the value of strengthening their communication and really looking at their implementation. You cannot promise that you're going to do better at communication and have this be following on the heels. At some point, it looks like you're crying wolf. And then finally, really reworking what it takes and what the markers are for becoming a partner. You have to give your content creators something more than file space and access to a little bit of editing tools. That doesn't cut it. Not when your competitors are already offering more. So winding up a very long rant, I would love to hear from you guys what you guys have really thought about this and ways that you guys think that YouTube could help to avoid these kind of problems going forward. Well, cheers to you guys, and I will see you guys in the next vlog.